Welcome back to the Gilded Page, and if you're completely new to the stacks, hi, I'm Kathy, and I'm so glad you found us. Whether you've been here since the introductory week or are just jumping in and joining us, the mission is still the same. We're centering all of our travels around the world's most incredible libraries. Look, I know when I first tell people about the idea for this trip, I get some really funny looks. People say, a library on vacation? Why? But for me, a library isn't just the detour on a trip. It is the anchor and the center of that trip. It's a literal lens by which we can better understand the people and the culture of a destination. So think about it. We flock to spaces because they make us feel something. So imagine walking into a room that houses a collective memory of humanity. But a library isn't just a building full of books. It's a mirror of the culture that built it. So depending on which library we choose, it can completely change the intent and purpose of the trip. To show you what I mean, let's look at two opposite ends of the spectrum. First, we'll start with one of the heavy hitters of the old world, the Austrian National Library in Vienna. When you walk into the Great Hall, the trip immediately becomes about history, preservation, and power. This room wasn't built for the public, it was built for emperors. The conversation here is about status, elite knowledge, and the weight of the past. It forces our trip to focus on the roots of the empire and the architectural storytelling of Europe. And now let's hop on a flight and go across the world to start a completely different conversation. Take Te Matapihi ki te Aonui in Wellington, New Zealand. This isn't an Imperial vault. It's a living room, because the space was designed hand in hand with local indigenous experts. And the entire conversation shifts from who held the power in the past to how does a community tell its story today. And walking down these stairs, your trip focus instantly shifts to modern identity, biculturalism, and forward-looking design. And here is the trap that most travelers fall into, and it really depends on what library we're looking at. When it comes to the old world giants like Vienna, tourists do go, but they treat it like a museum on their tour. They walk in, take a look around, maybe snap a few photos, take a video, and then they leave and they're off to the next space. They're really not considering the intentionality around their visit to the library. They're really not understanding the purpose of visiting a space like this. And for a more modern space like Te Matapihi ki te Aonui, most tourists wouldn't even add it to an itinerary. They could walk past the building and even if they did identify that it's a library, decide that it's not historical enough. And they would assume that it's not worth stopping and seeing. But what they don't realize until someone points it out to them is that spaces like Te Matapihi are a brilliant living masterclass. In fact, the name itself translates to the window to the wider world. And honestly, that phrase captures the exact philosophy behind the Gilded Page, because that is exactly what a library is. Whether it's centuries old or just reopened, every single library is a window to the universe. And that is exactly why I'm centering my trips around these spaces. Because when you can decode the design, the books, and what the space truly represents, you can unlock a completely different level of travel. And that is the mission of the Gilded Page. We're stepping through the velvet ropes of libraries of the past and opening our eyes to the cultural masterpieces of the libraries of today. So next week, we're going to continue to pull the curtain back on how I'm designing these journeys from scratch. I'm going to break down the exact blueprint of what I'm calling a literary field trip. This isn't going to be a generic rushed group tour trip where you're ushered on and off the bus, stopping at a bunch of different places. We're talking about a completely intentional way to travel, and I'll be sharing how I'll structure the pacing so you never feel rushed, the secret to unlocking insider access, and how we plan to build a real community on the road. And perhaps most importantly, how to carve out that crucial independent time so you can sit, read, and absorb the city at your own pace. And that's it for today. Hit like and subscribe so you can see that blueprint drop next week. And comment below and let me know that if you were on a literary field trip right now, what you would want. More curated group access, or perhaps some solo time so you can get lost in the stacks on your own. Think about it, and I'll see you right here next time. Nope. Oh, not 22, 12. I don't know if it's 10, but whatever.